Okay, football fans, the Big D is here to start off Super Bowl week with maybe a rinse and repeat, but we're talking Chiefs and Eagles. Before I bring in my mate from the UK, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where it's Super Bowl week here. Also, check out the Big D podcast for the audio listeners, Spotify and Apple. So join me, the only person who wishes his team to be in the Super Bowl more than me. Miami Dolphin and football and not Charlie Mullan. So Charlie, wait, Miami's not in the Super Bowl. That's bad.
Yeah, that's hardly breaking news. By the way, hello, Dylan. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to join you on your podcasts, and especially before the Super Bowl. So, yeah, listen, things have got so bad supporting the Miami Dolphins. I've given up hope on them ever getting to the Super Bowl. So I've taken things into my own hands, and I've bought my own Super Bowl trophy. This actually has the 2 years that they won it back to back, which is obviously what Kansas City have done in the past. Miami didn't succeed in their three-peat attempts. Will the Kansas City Chiefs be more successful this year? We shall wait and see. Now, listen, if they do win 3 in a row, yes, hats off. It'll be a fantastic achievement. But have they ever done that?
They haven't gone 17-0.
They haven't had a perfect season, so they can have their three-peat. I'm happy with Miami Dolphins' perfect season in 1972 when I was 2 years old. What year were you born, by the way, Dylan?
92. The first
Okay.
Super Bowl.
Okay. So Miami have won a playoff game in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Not many, but one.
By the way, my Jags are one of 4 teams that haven't been to a Super Bowl. The other three being the Lions, Browns,
Cleveland. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I think what we need to do, Dylan, is campaign for the NFL season to run from April to September, May to September, something like that. Somewhere, some period of time, 5 or 6 months, where the weather is nice and sunny all across America. So it does away with the cold weather advantage that Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Cincinnati all have in the AFC. So, yeah, we can wait for those days, can't we? So the AFC Championship game would be the Dolphins against the Jaguars.
Hey, we know
in the middle of summer.
We know the only time Jacksonville, Miami made in the play.
Yeah, move on. Dan Marino's last game. You didn't read the script, did you? You didn't.
62-7.
Yeah. It was a day to forget all around. Poor Dan. Not a way for his career to end, but never mind.
So, back to the game itself. New Orleans and the Super Bowl go hand in hand. This the 7th or 8th time the Superdome is hosting the Super Bowl. Yes, Super Bowl in the Superdome.
That's correct. And let's hope that the electricity and the power generators don't fail this time. And,
and written them all. Don't turn out the lights.
Yeah, because as we've discussed many times before on this podcast, some people over here have to stay up very late to watch the Super Bowl. So the longer it's delayed for stupid things like the lights going out for 45 minutes doesn't help me, I would like the game to be over as quickly as possible so I can get to bed and get some sleep before I get back to work in the morning.
How late were you up watching last year's Super Bowl when it went to overtime?
Well, yeah, you just plow on. You get used to it after a while, but it's not so bad when there's actual action that you can watch. But when you're sat there for 45 minutes just watching people on the sideline in complete darkness, talking nonsense and speculating about what's happened and how long it's going to be before the game can resume, you're kind of losing the will to live. So, just if the game lasts 2 periods of overtime or whatever, I have no problem with that. as long as there's action that you can actually watch and enjoy. But when people are just standing around doing nothing, that's when I have a problem with it. So, yeah. But it should be a good game. It should be a good game. Obviously, it's billed as the three-peat or revenge. You know, three-peat for the Chiefs or revenge for the Eagles, who were beaten by the Chiefs not so long ago in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, if we get that sort of same level of quality when the Chiefs won by 3 points, Jalen Hurts, I think, scored 3 touchdowns that day, but he also had a massive fumble, which was returned for a touchdown, which was the big play of the game. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to a high-scoring end-to-end game. And, yeah, may the best team win. I know there's a lot of talk over in the States, Dylan, about Chiefs fatigue. People are sick and tired of them getting to the Super Bowl year after year after year. Listen, if you don't like it, you know, it's up to other teams to beat them, and they haven't been able to do so. So good luck to the Kansas City Chiefs. And you could say that they've been helped by dubious referees calls, but I don't generally subscribe to that. I think if you're good enough, you will win a game regardless. Well, maybe that's unfair to say, because if a big play goes against you, it can keep the momentum for one particular team. If that's the Chiefs, then so be it. But yeah, it should be a good game. Hopefully, we will not be talking about a refereeing controversy on Monday morning when the dust has settled and the final piece of confetti has fallen from the roof and landed on the turf in the Superdome. And hopefully, yeah, we'll be talking about the best Super Bowl ever.
Speaking of that Super Bowl 2 years ago, how much would both teams look at that game? I know different players. I know obviously Saquon Barkley wasn't there, but you know, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I think there were a couple Eagle defenders who aren't there now, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, but most of them.
Yeah, I don't read anything into that game. It's a different day. It's a different stadium. Listen, you've heard it so many times from players and coaches, and you will hear it all this week at every media opportunity for players and coaches. Every game is different. You cannot go by what happened 2 years ago. You know, the kickoff could be returned for a touchdown, and that gives a team a massive advantage and throws the plans of the other team out the window, because they will have hoped to have opened the scoring, and therefore they could dictate the game. But when you're playing catch up, that kind of forces you into plan B. So every game is different. I don't read anything into what happened 2 years ago. Yeah, it's the same 2 quarterbacks. We know what they're good at. We know that Jalen Hurts is brilliant at the tush push, brotherly shove, whatever. Even without Jason Kelsey, you know, they've moved on from that, and they're still as effective as ever with that play, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, do something to stop it, because I have no problem with it. They have mastered something that any team in the NFL, if they had thought about it first, they could have mastered it and used it to their advantage. The Eagles do it, and fair play to them. It was like the Miami Dolphins back in the day when they launched the Wildcat offense. Brilliant. And then everybody copied it. But they were the best at it at the time. And it's the same with the Eagles. They're the best at the tush push, brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. And I'm sure we'll see it several times on Sunday.
Yeah, and by the way, look at the difference with how the Eagles run the tush push and the Bills. I mean, Jalen Hurts could squat 700 pounds, but yet when Josh Allen runs the tush push, he's like almost too big.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, I think we've got 2 very clever coaches here, and by that I mean they're very clever with their plays. I would not be surprised. I will call this now, Dylan. Nick Sirianni will set his team up for the tush push, but he'll have some trick play in store. Rather than Jalen Hurts burrowing his way over, he'll go maybe on a bootleg and stroll in on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. So I'm calling that. It's all about outthinking the opposition. Now, on the other side of the sidelines, you've got Andy Reid. He's made his living pulling out plays from the 1932 Rose Bowl and to great effect in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, two great coaches. I'm sure they've got something in store with their game plans. So, yeah, the closer we get to it, the more excited I am for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, talk about the teams. First, the Eagles. I don't think people talk about Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni enough, but Jalen Hurts is maybe the most unique quarterback we've ever seen. I mean, it looks like he should. Jalen Hurts looks like he should be playing the world's strongest quarterback. He is just massively built. And Nick Sirianni, I mean, the first press conference was weird, but you know what? He wins games. You know what I want my coach to do? I want my coach to win some bleeping games.
Yeah, me too. Me too. For all that people rave about Mike Daniels, this, Mike Daniels, that, he hasn't won a playoff game, and that's what you will be judged on in Miami. But I keep going back to Miami. Let's forget about that. Yeah, Nick Sirianni, we had a chat off the record, didn't we, a couple of days ago when the Jaguars announced their head coach. And, yep, you were quite right to point out that introductions in press conferences may seem strange at first, but you've got to wait and see what happens in the results. And Nick Sirianni's first press introduction didn't go very well, but second Super Bowl, I think he's one of the youngest to reach 2 Super Bowls in his first 3 or 4 seasons. So he is a great coach. He's one of those characters that you either love him or hate him. Even his own fans, supporters in Philly, which are notoriously difficult to win over, he has rubbed them up the wrong way and vice versa. So if they don't win this game, I'm sure the Philly fans will be on their Talk Sport channels on Monday, venting their frustrations, saying, Sirianni has to go. Listen, he's got them to 2 Super Bowls. I'd be happy with my coach if he got me to 1 Super Bowl. So I think he is a very good coach. And I think you're right. Jalen Hurts has flown under the radar. And, I'll watch a lot of the American sports over here when they're on. And he's very underestimated. He's very much maligned. He gets the job done. He's just flatline, isn't he? He doesn't get too high when they win. He doesn't get too low when they lose. And that's sometimes aimed at him by Philly fans that he doesn't care. But listen, again, like Sirianni, he's in his 2nd Super Bowl. So again, he's doing something right, isn't he? And hopefully he will have learned from his error in the first meeting between these two in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I think what also will help Philly in this game is Saquon Barkley. I don't know about you, but Saquon Barkley's put up a half decent rushing season. Run for 2,000 plus yards, and literally every other play I see Saquon Barkley running for 80 yards.
Yeah, we've seen him do all sorts of things, the backward flip over an opponent's head. So what has he in store for the Super Bowl? I hope he's got something lined up. We're all sort of waiting to see what he has. But no, he has had a fantastic season. Now, obviously, if the Chiefs can stop the Eagles from running the ball early and force the ball into Jalen Hurts' arm to make him throw the ball, that might be a spanner in the works. But listen, Saquon Barkley can just break a tackle, go for a 40, 50, 60-yard run, just like that. We saw it in the first play of the game against the Washington Commanders. They spent 7.5 minutes building an 18-play drive to score a field goal. Eagles, first play, handoff to Saquon Barkley, and he breaks it for 65-yard touchdown. So if the Chiefs, and I'm sure they'll have worked massively on stopping the Eagles' run game in the last 2 weeks, or this week and last week in training and practice. So, yeah, it'll be a key part of the game. If the Eagles can come out on top and dominate the trenches, as they like to say, then I think that gives the Chiefs an advantage. If the Eagles can establish the run early, then that gives them a massive advantage, because then it opens up your passing game as well. And hopefully we see AJ Brown more involved on the field rather than reading a book on the sidelines. But if he is reading a book, what book will it be?
It'll be my book. It'll be the book on winning Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it will, and the popularity of that book will go right through the roofs on the internet on Monday. But hopefully we're talking about action rather than selfish acts of players who are on the sideline doing things for their own benefit.
Philly's offense takes a lot of credit, but the Eagles' defense, last year was really a problem, and Philly's collapsed toward the second half of the year. Vic Fangio might have been the single biggest addition any team made because Philly's defense was like 1 or 2 in everything, and literally in the playoffs. You cannot throw, otherwise your quarterback's going to be on his keister.
Remind me where Vic Fangio was last year.
The Miami Dolphins.
Let's move on. But that just proves that it's not down to the coach. It's what tools he has to work with. He didn't have the tools to work with in Miami, and he's gone to Philadelphia, and he's doing a fantastic job. And good luck to him. They have a formidable defense. Jalen Carter, he's been a beast in the playoffs. I love his attitude. So it wouldn't surprise me if he got a sack on Sunday. And the Chiefs' offense has stuttered this season, and they're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. They can pull things out when they have to. The Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce Avenue partnership channel, whatever you want to call it, is still fruitful. It's still bearing fruit after all these years. 11 catches for 115, I think it was, in the AFC Conference Championship game a couple of weeks ago. So, that's always a get-out clause for him, for the Chiefs. But I think the Commanders can get to Patrick Mahomes. We know that his ankle probably isn't 100%. So if I was an Eagles, if I was Carter or anybody else on that defensive line for the Eagles, then I would sort of be targeting Patrick Mahomes and his ankle to see how fit he is, because we know how dangerous he is when he can keep a play open and sprint down the sideline, pretend it's going out of bounds, faking to go down, and then running for another 10 or 15 yards. So, if the opportunity presents itself, then I think the Eagles should make sure that when they do tackle Patrick Mahomes, then they do so as hard as they can, but within the law.
Yeah, especially anytime anytime Patrick Mahomes is sneezed on, the refs throw the flags, but that's a story for another day.
It is, yes.
Yeah, two key cogs to Philly's defense, all rookie defensive backs, Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Both of those guys are going to be big on Sunday night because, first time playing the Super Bowl for either one of those guys, and both of them have been great. Quinion Mitchell looks like, I don't know how the Eagles got literally my favorite corner in the draft, and Cooper DeJean, literally Mr. Do Everything from Iowa. Oof.
Yeah. They're such a great franchise. They get everything right, don't they? They get the draft right. They get the free agency right. Andy Reid, he just gets it. He knows what he's doing. And fair play to him.
And Howie Roseman's not afraid to take chances, made moves. Got rid of Andy Reid, got rid of Doug Peterson, and now look what he's doing with Nick Sirianni. Been to 3 Super Bowls with 3 different head coaches.
Yes, that is phenomenal. It really, really is. And he's a nice guy. Andy Reid is such a nice guy. But, as you said, the Eagles backroom, front office, I should say, have done a fantastic job. And it wouldn't surprise me if they came away with, if we're sort of seeing them celebrating in the confetti again. But defensively, they've made some key acquisitions in the last year to make their defense one of the best in the league. And I think if they can shut down that partnership between Mahomes and Kelce, then they've got a chance. They've got a real chance.
And don't forget Zach Bonner went from a special
Oh,
team in New Orleans to all first team All Pro this
yeah,
year.
yeah. Going back to the team that let him go, how sweet would that be to win the Super Bowl in your home ground, your previous home field? So yeah, that there are, it's the same every year. There are so many stories waiting to be written, and we just got to wait for the final. Like I said, the final play, the final snap, the final knee down, to find out who we will be talking about and who we will be reading about. So yeah, it promises to be a great game, and Zach Bond deserves all the credit that he's getting. He's gone from, as you said, special teams to a key part of the Eagles defense, and it's the same with the player that the Eagles acquired from the Jets, who started as a tackle and is now the guard. So he's reinvented his career. His name escapes me at this moment in time. I think is it Williams?
No.
You'll come up with that name.
Mekhi Becton. Thank you.
That's it. Yeah, Mekhi Becton. He's reinvented his game, and it's got him to the Super Bowl, and he could be a first-time winner as well after a troublesome time at the Jets, which goes hand in hand with anybody who goes and signs for the Jets these days. So, yeah, it's intriguing. Who are you most looking forward to seeing in the Super Bowl? What matchup are you looking forward to?
I'm looking to see Jalen Carter against the Chief O-line, because I wonder how Kansas City's O-line will protect Jalen Carter now that Tooney's basically a left tackle. I mean, Kansas City's interior of the O-line is usually great, but I haven't seen Jalen Carter this year, and that matchup could determine the game. I mean, think back to the Super Bowl that the Chiefs lost in Tampa, and what happened to Mahomes? He was running for his life.
Yes.
If Pat Mahomes is running for his life, the Chiefs don't have a prayer in winning.
No. Who do you think is going to come out on top in the number of sacks?
That's an interesting question. I mean, think back to when these teams played 2 years ago, and Kansas City won that despite Philadelphia don't use set all kinds of sack records. But I think Philly might have not just an inside but an outside pass rush. Not that I'm looking call off this or Chris Jones by any measure. I think both teams will get the other team's quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, so with the Chiefs, we know what the Chiefs are going for. They're going for a piece of NFL history. 3 straight Super Bowls. No team's done that. Try and win 4 out of 6. Trying to think. The Steelers won 4 out of 6. Back in the day, Super Bowl 9, 10, 13, 14. 3 in a row. Trying to do something nobody's done in the Super Bowl era. Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, the NFL's greatest two. Could they potentially rival Walsh and Montana or Belichick and Brady?
Yes, and yes, without a shadow of a doubt. It's quite ironic that on Sunday night we will have the trophy presented by Terry Bradshaw, who was quarterback of the Steelers, who won 4 out of 6. On commentary, you will have Tom Brady, who won 7 Super Bowls. And now you've got Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid, who are going for 3 in a row, 4 and 6. So, yes, and you look at Patrick Mahomes. What age is he? 29, 30? He's got another 5 or 6 years left in him if he stays fit and healthy. So there's that. As long as Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are fit and healthy, there is no reason why this dynasty for the Chiefs cannot continue. I'm sorry for the rest of the NFL, but that's the way it is. You've got to beat the champion to have a chance of being the champion yourself. So we shall wait and see. It's there's 30 teams. hoping and wishing that the Philadelphia Eagles does the league a favor by winning. But those other 30 teams couldn't stop the Chiefs. I know they didn't all play the Chiefs this year, but maybe over the last 2 or 3 years, 4 years, I'm sure they've all had a shot at the Eagles. Yeah, and us. So yeah, it's just one of those things, teams when they are on a winning run, it's hard to stop. You look at Manchester City, 4 Premier League titles in a row, going for 5. Okay, they've hit a bit of a roadblock at the moment. The Man United domination in the 1990s and noughties. It happens, in the NFL, it's tougher because of the injuries, and the championship game is a one-off game. It's not a series of 7 games where you've got 4 at home, 3 away, or whatever. It comes down to one game, and one bad call, one bad bounce of the ball, one tipped pass, and your season could be ended. And that's the reality of it. So, I look back I keep going back to Miami, and I do apologize. The struggles we've had in the last 40, 50 years, it makes you realize what a good coach and what a good team Don Shula built in the early 70s to get back-to-back, and that goes for all the teams who have gone back-to-back, and they've not been able to win the 3rd in a row. But, yeah.
I've got a good question. Why hasn't the team won 3 in a row? Is it because the physical and mental grind just takes so much out of you? And now free agency, coaches leaves, free agency.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't gone through all 8 teams who had the opportunity to win 3 in a row and how they ended. I mean, yeah, definitely. If you lose your quarterback, that's your season over. We Miami have experienced that this year. We lost 2 for 4 games, and we missed out in the playoffs. So yeah, injuries do play a massive part. But when you get into the playoffs and it's sudden death, and like I said, a tipped pass here or a fumble here, or the game changes, and suddenly, the other team scores from that turnover, and you're playing catch up. And there's so many variables that can affect success in the NFL, but generally it does come down to injuries. If you can stay healthy with your key players, especially the quarterback, because nobody has a solid backup. Well, not many teams have a solid backup quarterback that can go in there and continue to perform at the level of the starting quarterback. Now, obviously, we were talking there earlier about Patrick Mahomes. If he gets injured in the Super Bowl, that opens the door for Carson Wentz, doesn't it?
Oh no!
Who missed out on playing in the Super Bowl for the Eagles against the Patriots because of injury? It was left to Nick Foles to pull off the Philly special. So, does it all go full circle? Does Carson? No, you don't think that?
I think Mahomes will be okay. I don't know about you, but I don't think Chief fans want to replay Week 18 with Carson Wentz starting. But
no. But listen, if that result mattered, even if Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing, I'm sure Carson Wentz would have been more accurate with his passes, and the whole general attitude would have been a lot better. There's a Super Bowl on the line here, so if Carson Wentz is to come into the game on Sunday, it will be fascinating to see how he performs. Let's not forget, he was a very good quarterback that season that he got injured. Now, I know that was a long, long time ago, but he won't be asked to do too much. Just keep things steady. And, he might end up being a key player in the Super Bowl. Probably not, but we never know. One tackle is all it takes.
Well, seemingly New Orleans and the Super Bowl go hand in hand. This will be the 11th time New Orleans will host the Super Bowl. 8 of them, this is Sunday night, will be in the Caesars Superdome or whatever. I just call it Superdome for all we know.
Yeah.
All we know, which now breaks the record with
Miami.
Hard Rock Stadium actually, Superdome's already got the record, but we'll just add one more to the record.
Yeah.
Do you have one play that sticks out, whether it be in New Orleans or the Superdome itself?
Well, certainly the opening kickoff in New Orleans in between the Harbaugh brothers was certainly no, it wasn't the Harbaugh brothers, was it? No, it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was, yes. The onside kick, which sadly we won't be able to see again because you now have to declare that you're doing an onside kick. So that's a shame, but that certainly does spring to mind. I remember the first game back in the Superdome after Storm Katrina. That was pretty special. U2 and Green Day performed before or at halftime. I remember that. The Saints Are Coming was one of the songs they played, and just the atmosphere that was coming through the TV that night was just phenomenal. And obviously the Saints won. It was the blocked punt, wasn't it? Which is now immortalized in a statue outside of the stadium. And just, we're talking about New Orleans, can I just say how fitting it is and that they do get the biggest game after what happened on New Year's Day. So yeah, I know it's not going to make everything right, but at least it'll give New Orleans a chance to show itself in the best light possible. And just thoughts and sympathies for everybody who was involved in that atrocity. But back to Football Matters. Those two stand out for me. I also remember when I first started watching American football in the 1980s, there was these shots of the crowd and these people with like paper bags on their heads, and it's like Saints or Aints, Saints Ain't or whatever. And that still sticks out in my mind as well. They didn't have good times then, and at least they've won a Super Bowl since then.
Yeah, just down the road from me, beating Peyton Manning with a pick six.
Mm-hmm.
How about speaking of Chiefs and Super Bowl calls, how about 65 calls power trap? 65 calls power trap, Super Bowl 4, when Hangstrom famously called 65 calls power trap, and literally a hole ran open up so big that you could have scored.
Yes. That was pretty good. Wasn't that when he was trickulating the ball down the field?
Keep matriculating down the field, boys.
Yeah. I mean, we laugh at that, but that was what, 1969, 1970, something like that. And the coach was mic'd up then, and we're seeing it more and more now over here these days. So the NFL just continues to be one step ahead of everything. But he was a character. He was a real character, and those were good days. Watching. I love watching the old footage of the NFL and the Super Bowl. Do you remember the halftime entertainment for the first Super Bowl? Have you seen pictures?
Not off the top of my head.
Wasn't it the air balloons or something like that crashed into the ground or something?
Little different than what it is now.
Yes, indeed. Very much so. Will you be watching the halftime show?
I'll probably be in the shower.
Right.
I'm not a Kendrick Lamar fan.
No, but I'll watch it anyway. You're looking for a bit of trivia. Let's have a look and see. I should have had something lined up, but let's have a look.
In the meantime, Charlie's trying to find the hardest Super Bowl trivia question ever because he knows I will probably get it.
Hello, are you still there?
Yes.
All right, okay. Right, okay. Let's have a look. Yeah, you'll get that. You'll get that. Yeah. Let's have a look. Okay, here we go. Which position has the MVP award gone to most, taken out the quarterback? After the quarterback, which position has the MVP award gone to the most?
That's a wide receiver?
Correct. Wide receiver 6 times, running back 7 times.
Let me see if I could get the wide receivers. Well, Fred Biletnikoff for the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn Swann, Super Bowl 10.
Mm-hmm.
Did John Stoll win Super Bowl MVP for the Steelers?
No.
Okay. Jerry Rice, Super Bowl 23.
You got the first 2. You got the first 3. Yep.
Let me think. 3, 1, 3, 7, 8. Deion Branch, Super Bowl 39.
Correct. 4.
Heinz Ward, Super Bowl 40.
5. Yep.
Santonio Holmes, Super Bowl 43.
Yep.
Julian Edelman, Super Bowl 53.
7.
And Cooper Kupp.
Very good. Very good. All 8.
I don't know how I know that useless information.
It's weird, isn't it? The information that we just keep in the back of our minds for no reason whatsoever. Yeah, let me see if there was another question I could have asked you. Yeah, you'd know all these. Yeah. What about you? Have you any trivia questions for myself?
Let me think. Yeah. I think I've got one. I think I've got one for you.
Go on.
Which famous Chicago Bear player scored a touchdown in Super Bowl 20 and he was not named Walter Payton?
Are you talking William Perry, are you?
William the Refrigerator Perry.
Number 72. Yeah.
How the best running back maybe of all time doesn't get a touchdown in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. I'm not buying Mike Ditka's explanation for that either. He didn't realize that Walter Payton hadn't scored in that game. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. He knew. I don't know what was going on. Why would you not give Walter Payton a touchdown in that game? Crazy.
I mean, maybe the best. I mean, I think Detroit would have given Barry Sanders a touchdown.
Yes.
I think Cleveland would have given Jim Brown a touchdown. Otherwise, he probably killed him.
Yep. 100%. 100%. No, that's one of the memories of Super Bowls for me as well, was that one. That was one of the first ones that I watched live. So yeah, the fridge was big news over here.
By the way, who's the only team that beat the 85 Bears that year?
Come on. Monday night, Miami Dolphins, 34-24. Come on. Yeah.
That was the loudest I've ever heard the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
Although that was 7 years before my time.
Well, yeah. I still watch clips from that game. It was just that's what it comes down to, reliving previous games like that. But thankfully we did, and like I said, the rest of the 1972 team were opening champagne bottles after that. Just one other little trivia, actually. I might have mentioned this to you before. If the Kansas City Chiefs win on Sunday night, they will be the first team since the 2006 Indianapolis Colts to win the Super Bowl while being the last undefeated team that season. So there you go. You heard that first here. I've been tracking that for a long, long time. I've called it a curse. So if the Eagles win, it's because the Chiefs' curse of being the last undefeated team this season continues. So watch out for that one. You can cut that one and post it on social media. Only if the Eagles win.
Okay, so getting to the point. Who wins? Who will be eating beignets in the Big Easy? Will it be the Chiefs going for 3 in a row, or the Eagles going for Stone Cold revenge?
Short story. My wife and I went to America in 2013. We went to Philadelphia. We got engaged at the top of the Rocky Steps. We got tickets for the Eagles game that Thursday night, and it happened to be against the Chiefs. So there you go. And the Chiefs won that night. So I am going for the Chiefs to win again. 3-peat.
Simple. Give me the best coach. Give me the best quarterback. I bet I'd put my money on Kansas City to win each of its last 4 Super Bowls. I'll make it 5. I think the Chiefs win. I think Philly might have the better team, but that actually stopped Kansas City the last couple of years. It's not going to stop, and it's not going to stop them. Give me KC. Give me the KC masterpiece.
Yeah. By how many points?
4, 30-26.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm going for Chiefs by 3. No, might be overtime.
I mean, we just saw overtime last year.
Yep, we did.
Okay, Charlie, thanks for hopping on. I hope you have some extra cases of caffeine or coffee at your disposal this Sunday, because I think you're going to need them. And maybe the Dolphins or Jags will be in the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, maybe pigs will fly as well. Listen, Dylan, enjoy the week, enjoy the game, and hope it's a good one. And good luck to Chelsea for the rest of their season as well.